Jason's fearless climb. Jason stared at his friend Marvin, who was halfway up the tree. "Oh, Marvin, be careful, you'll fall." Marvin laughed, shaking his head. "I will not fall. I can climb the tallest building or the highest tree. I am so good at climbing." Jason watched, unable to shake the uneasy feeling growing inside him. Even though he wasn't the one climbing, his palms were sweaty and his heart raced. Marvin stepped off the ladder and landed on a sturdy branch. "Hey, Jason, why don't you come up to the treehouse with us?" Marvin called down, a playful grin on his face. Jason hesitated, looking up at the treehouse. "If you haven't noticed, I am really afraid of heights," he admitted, his voice trembling slightly. Marvin's grin faded, replaced by a look of disappointment. "Oh, Jason, you are such a coward." Jason's eyes widened, hurt by the harsh words. "Why did you say that to me?" "That's not a nice thing to say," he replied quietly, feeling a sting in his chest. Without waiting for a response, Jason turned and walked away, heading straight home. His mind was a whirlwind of emotions. Embarrassment, hurt, and anger mingled with the ever-present fear of heights. When Jason got home, his dad noticed his distress immediately. "What's wrong, son?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. Jason sighed and explained, "Marvin called me a coward because I didn't want to climb up to the treehouse." Jason's dad nodded thoughtfully and sat down next to him. "You know, Jason, I had a friend named Stephen who had the same problem. He never wanted to climb on anything. Horses, trees, anything that was taller than him. We used to give him a hard time about it." Jason looked up at his dad, curious despite his bad mood. "What happened to him?" His dad smiled softly. "One day, his mom bought him a kite. He loved that kite more than anything. He decided to take it to the park, but it got stuck in a tree. He cried because he realized there were only two things he could do: leave the kite there or climb up to get it." Jason leaned in, intrigued. "Did he climb for it?" "At first he tried walking away," his dad continued. "But as he got further, he kept looking back at the kite with such sadness. He couldn't bear to leave it behind. So he gathered his courage, took a deep breath, and climbed that tree. Not only did he get his kite back, but he also conquered his fear of heights." Jason's eyes widened in amazement. "Wow, what do you think Stephen does now?" His dad's smile broadened. "He's a firefighter. Firefighters climb trees and buildings to save people. Now, all his friends call him the bravest of all." Jason thought about this story for a long time. The next day, he found himself standing at the bottom of the ladder leading to the treehouse. Marvin and the other kids were already up there, laughing and playing. Jason took a deep breath and put his foot on the first rung. "Hey, look! Jason's trying to climb!" one of the kids shouted. Jason's heart pounded, but he remembered Stephen's story. He took another step and then another. Each day, he climbed a little higher, going just a bit further than the day before. His legs shook and his hands were sweaty, but he kept going. Finally, after a week of practice, Jason stood at the top of the ladder, his head level with the treehouse. He took a deep breath and pulled himself up, stepping onto the wooden platform. To his surprise, all his friends were there, cheering for him. Marvin stepped forward, a big smile on his face. "You did it, Jason. I knew you could." Jason felt a surge of pride and relief wash over him. "Thanks, Marvin. And I'm sorry I got upset. I was just scared." Marvin nodded, clapping him on the back. "It's okay. We all get scared sometimes, but you did it, and that's what matters." From that day on, Jason's fear of heights slowly diminished. He began to enjoy climbing and even started looking forward to the adventures that awaited him in the treehouse. The feeling of conquering his fear filled him with a new sense of confidence.